And welcome back to Red White Buffalo. I'm Adam. This is my co-host Zilla. Back talking to Bills, baby. What a year it's been. What a run. What's that? 6 in a row now? Six wins in a row.
What a ride. Yeah.
What a ride it's been. Only a couple more wins to go. I do feel like this year might be a special year. I know we say this every year, but this year definitely feels different. There's definitely different competition. I feel like even this week going into the Chiefs game, I'm obviously we'll get to it, but I'm obviously very nervous. Obviously just because we've had so many opportunities against them and we haven't come out on the positive side of it a few different times. So
Yeah.
you gotta be careful around teams like this. So, but we'll get to that in a minute.
I think one thing too, I just want to also add.
Yeah.
You said we feel like this every year. Kind of true, but we have to be honest. Like there was years before we had potential for the season where we knew it was going to be what it was. So we're not the
Right.
Cowboys fans here, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Realistic, hopeful.
We're definitely more realistic.
Yeah.
They're just unrealistic.
Yeah.
Cowboys got showing.
Every year's the year.
That was great predictions last week. I was pretty good. I was pretty spot on, other than I think the Browns game, I believe.
Yeah, the Browns game we were both. I was actually wrong on everything.
You got the Bucs game wrong.
Yeah.
Really? Everything?
Everything, I think. What was the other game? Who else played? It was
No, because we did a couple of the same ones.
No, we did Texans Browns. I was wrong on that.
Texans and Browns, we were both wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong on the Eagles Bucks.
I was right on that one.
I was wrong on the Cowboys too. I said the boys would pull it out, didn't I?
Right, yeah. Right, you did. Who did they play again? Boys in
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I think you called.
I called Green Bay.
Yeah, you did. You called it perfect. I think. Yeah.
I did. I happened to call that. Those were like the few differences we had. Other than that, you called the Bills game, and then you missed because that's right, you missed.
We missed the Browns. Hey, you should throw money down on those bets.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a wild week. A couple upsets happened. I definitely think Dallas being upset and Eagles being upset goes to show you that it doesn't matter how good you are during the regular season. It just matters how good you are at one game at a time.
Them being upset made me real happy.
My favorite was the Dolphins getting their ass kicked out again.
Yeah, that was great. That was a good one.
When at some point they are gonna have to be like, are we gonna have to reboot again?
Oh, that was the other game that called right? Or was that the week before?
Yeah, we both called that right.
Yeah.
We both called that Chiefs game right.
Man, it's all blending now. This season's been wild.
Yeah, I forgot that was the one game that I kept forgetting because we both picked the Chiefs in that game.
All right. So,
but I feel like all the games were much more different. Yeah. Don't you think than we predicted? They were all much more like we all kind of we said that all the games were kind of close, and I feel like the majority of the games were kind of one-sided.
Yeah, they're blowouts kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the Cowboys game, I think I said I could see them if they score heavy in the beginning, they'd pull ahead, and you said you think it might be close. In all actuality, that game was a blowout. It's garbage time points at the end that Pack led up and they just started scoring. Yeah, so
they got demolished. Just same with the Cleveland game, absolute beatdown. Bills game, honestly, they made it close late in the fourth, but like for the majority of 3 quarters, that was not a close game.
Yeah, well, it was only third quarter that it started to get like close, and then we ended up taking.
And you still look at the stats of all that, and honestly. Like I said, we'll get to it in a minute, but Bills played pretty great game, honestly. So
yeah.
But yeah, we get into it. How about it? Let's talk some Bills game last week real quick, and then we'll get into this week's. We'll make some picks and talk a whole bunch more Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Last week, crazy storm. Gonna happen again this week, even crazier. Yeah. They had to have everyone come and help shovel. If I was in Buffalo, I would have been there. Absolutely.
Me too.
Absolutely. But I'm in North Carolina, so I wasn't making the trip up there. Sorry, pals.
And Texas. Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Maybe someday soon, since we're never gonna have a closed stadium.
We're both talking about a game next year.
Which is an argument too. What do you think that we should have a closed stadium?
So, I think overall, yes, I think so.
Because then we could get a Super Bowl there.
Yeah, because the catch is that they always want real turf, right? But then real turf requires, I think you're gonna have to have sunlight. You know what I mean? Some kind of open stadium. So,
or at least glass.
Yeah. So that's the catch, and I think with the amount of issues it presents, and you don't really want to have to be a team that molds your team around the weather. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like some teams are like, we're a run dominant team. We don't care.
Throughout their whole history, you know?
Yeah.
It comes to a point of like, do we keep the history of it, or do we just make a change and like stop having an open stadium, you know?
And I mean, like, it's the way it's always been, but it can't be really too fun for fans to go every week, especially in the wintertime, freezing cold.
I feel like Bills fans just love it because it's like, oh, it's like
we're suffering.
It's like the idea behind it, you know, that like you're gonna come to the cold, you're gonna have a hard time, but that just affects us just as much.
Like you're suffering and getting charged up for your team in terrible weather. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and our team is actually suffering too, just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like this hurts us practice wise. This hurts us playing wise. Everything. Like just because they like KC practices and this stuff too, it doesn't really make a difference that much.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe it gives you.
I feel like it's not really a home field advantage for shitty weather.
Yeah,
yeah.
It probably does harden the team to a degree if you practice in that weather, if you play in that weather. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, of course.
Versus
if you are around it more often, for sure, I feel like you're just going to play better in it. Of course.
Yeah.
So that's where the slight advantage happens. But like realistically, is it like that much of an advantage? I don't know. Last year we saw with Cincy blowing out in the cold. You know, I don't know. It's
but Cincinnati's kind of a cold place too. They don't have a dome.
Yeah, right? But that's what I'm saying. So like all these places are kind of colder places anyway. Like so, like why not just close it in and like occasionally when you need to practice outside, or have one of those like ones that open.
That's kind of the best bet, right? The one where at least where it partially opens, where you can get sunlight in. You know, I think that's
and like open it on good days, close it on bad days.
Oh, you could open it for the first half of the season, pretty much. Like other than rain,
right?
If it's crazy rain,
summer.
Yeah. I think it kind of makes it more of an even playing field because if you're a pass-heavy team, like weather's affecting you. You know what I mean? If you're a team that doesn't score that well and you rely on kicking, like on field goals, you're. I mean,
just look at the last two this past week and now this week. Look at last year. It's like it's starting to become a point where it's like, is it going to start happening more and more often to the point where we legitimately have to be like, how many times can we keep moving a game or keep pushing back a game when it's like important? It's the most important time of the year.
That's
last year when we had to move to Detroit, that was still like late in the season.
Yeah. And it's like, and then it becomes like no one has home field advantage. And then, and I think you're right. That's probably the most important aspect is whether you like outdoor, prefer indoor, prefer grass, prefer turf. It's really about like keeping a consistent schedule because that can mess it up.
Yeah.
Like your team thinks they have a certain amount of time to rest. Now you don't, you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You're going a day or two later than you thought you were going to play or something, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
So right now they're actually saying Sunday's supposed to be clear in Buffalo.
It's going to be cold though, right? Again?
Snow right now.
Just cold.
They must be getting hit with snow right now.
Or is it coming this weekend prior to the game like last time, I think?
So I'm trying to see. Because, that's important. It's obviously...
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is huge right now.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's happening right now. I feel like they're going to... Because in a couple of days, it looks like...
Bundle up, it says.
Yeah, by Sunday's nothing. Partly cloudy and 27.
Okay. But it's going to be...
I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be set.
Honestly, it says with wind chill will be closer to 10 to 15 degrees.
It's going to be cold, but what's the wind to that night or that day?
Oh, well, they're saying the wind will make it feel closer to 10 to 15 degrees, so it's going to be kind of windy.
12 mile an hour.
Oh, no, with gusts up to 20.
Winds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still not horrible.
No.
That's still not horrible. That's like last week, pretty much.
It'll be all right.
So that's not bad. So I feel like the game's not going to be that heavily affected by weather this week, which is a positive sign. That was crazy though last week. It was just an absolute snowball, which was fun to see.
Yeah.
Bills absolutely dominated. I loved it. First half, first three drive, like first legit, first quarter was just golden. If we could play like that every week, there's nothing stopping us.
Let's talk about the Josh Allen run, that rush.
Yes. Gosh. That was insane.
That was wild.
People tried to say that was a fake slide. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I literally saw multiple people say that online, just trying to be like, oh, great use of the fake slide. I'm like, he didn't even come close to a slide. He came to a stop and went like that.
Yeah.
And first of all, tell me, Zilla, in what freaking world has Josh Allen ever slid down?
Like
in the open field with nobody around him 5 yards. No. Literally nobody was within the vicinity of 5 yards in a whole first circumference. And you're telling me that he was just going to take a slide down?
He barely ever slides anyways, unless if he's like getting 4 and he's coming to a crowd and he slides down. But he did it 2 weeks ago.
This would be the perfect time for you to put up the freaking picture of it, or the picture of him plowing through the linebacker of Miami.
If anything, he's always rushing through people to get extra few yards, like he's going to take the hit either way. You know what I mean?
In that same thing, he literally 2 seconds later ran right through the guy.
And people are all mad about it, and it's like, well, like I said, he's a quarterback. I'm sorry, he's a big quarterback. This is the NBA where, like, if you're bigger, you can take hits, and people can charge you, and they don't call it charging or whatever. It's like quarterbacks.
And they try to act like that rules aren't rules, and that
or that size makes a difference, like if the rules should play a part or not. And it's like, well, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like they try to make it like, because he's a QB, he gets special calls. And it's like, well, you guys still know. First of all, you guys still know the rules.
Yeah.
So you go and do it anyway, and then be like, well, it shouldn't be a rule.
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
But you all know not to do it. So you're trying to make an argument like they're trying. But like if that happened against your team, you're not going to be saying that.
No, you want that 15.
Like,
15. Baby.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, this whole argument of like Josh going down his ship. Please type in Josh Allen running.
Yeah.
In YouTube. And they're going to show you at least 10 to 15 runs of him going through linebackers, defensive linemen, cornerbacks, the entire defense. And you're telling me he's going to just do a fake slide? Come on.
And in fact, it may be the most exciting and like impressive part of his rushing, right? Because he doesn't do Lamar jukes and tries to avoid hits. Josh will try, but like he'll just plow through if he has to. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's
broken tackles is what made him so like fascinated running.
I'm sure we'll see it next. I'm sure we'll see it this week against Kansas City.
Yeah.
We'll probably see it.
Getting yards after the tackle. That's been his go-to since the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
Him being able to keep a play alive by breaking tackles, whether it's to get the pass out or to get more yards on a run.
Mm-hmm.
He's done that since the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
So for people to sit here and try to say, with nobody around him on that big 52-yard run, they tried to say when he stopped and made that quick run and then like did that thing, they tried to say when he was going to stop, he was going to pull a fake slide.
Yeah.
He's
afraid to take a hit.
At that moment, literally, there was a circle around him of not a single player other than just Bill's player around him, and it was just a big open circle. And you're telling me why would he go down in the first place?
I'll try to get that clip if I can get it in here. We'll put like an arrow pointing, and I'll freeze it on that spot or something, so we can be like, this is what people are saying.
Like around him, how nobody was there.
Yeah.
And then right after that, he literally runs through the guy. Literally runs straight through a guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if he was worried about the hit, he would have laid down, you know. So
and then he wouldn't have tried to go run through a guy right after.
Nah,
like, come on, it makes no sense. No sense.
It's more nonsense.
What a broken tackle by Shakir late in the game.
That was a big one. That sewed it up, basically. Getting that, yeah. So yeah.
What a game! What a win! Offense played well for the first half, really good. Second half, good. Could have played better.
Yeah.
Honestly, this game was just a weird game where I feel like there wasn't many opportunities on either side. I feel like. And then they had a couple of times, they stopped us 2 different times and they capitalized off of it, especially after the block kick, which was changed the whole game a little bit there for a minute.
Yeah.
After that, but we kept making defensive stops. We kept holding strong, and we kept getting injuries throughout the whole game, which killed us. Yeah. We'll talk on that. We'll talk on that, and when we talk about the
another
next game.
Clutch moment I want to bring up is when Martin got injured, and then we basically just made it so he only had to kick one more punt the rest of the game.
You want to know what showed me this game, though, more than anything, Zill? We had a lot of guys go down.
Yeah.
We had Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
Then the backup Spectre comes and goes down.
Yeah.
So then we have Williams playing. We have AJ Klein off the practice field, literally was going on vacation.
Yeah.
And comes and plays a hell of a game, honestly.
Looking great.
And one of the biggest surprises, I know Elam got beat up throughout the game a little bit, but what a fucking interception in the fucking red zone.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say and how bad you played throughout the game. Your entire game is now defined by you saved that touchdown. That could have been game changing at that moment.
Yeah, the momentum
could have changed. It was big. Yeah. It was big. Big interception. It changed the whole game at that point.
He's a player. He has shining moments. I don't knock him because he's done it through the season.
Young.
He's done it through the season.
I feel like he's a guy that we just got to keep giving opportunities, and he's going to keep messing up a little bit. I know he was bad, but he's going to keep making plays, and he's going to get better from it. So
he's
hopefully him and Bedford can keep getting better.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he's like our Shakir on defense. Like
that third string slot
started out doing occasional really great plays, and then they keep getting more momentum now.
Remember last year?
Yeah.
When he comes in and he played all that, he played well last year.
Yeah.
And that was all fill-in. So maybe he's just a role player he's just a fill-in guy,
I mean, that's how we play our defense with shifts anyway. So
yeah.
Just
and Dane Jackson. He's been playing hell of a game.
Yeah.
He's having covered the main guy all game. So he played well.
I guess my point about the punter is that we did a great job of not having to punt, other than that one time. So how great was that to just keep finishing, or holding it or
extended drives.
Extending the drives, yep. So we didn't have to get in that weird situation where Bass was potentially gonna have to kick it and stuff, so.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah. The offense make him. I mean, even that last drive that pretty much clinched the game with the Shakir ending. That drive was we just pounded it. Next second, we had 7 minutes off the clock, and if we score here, it's game. And it was awesome to see.
Let's talk about how important our punter is too. My dad called me after the game, and during games, I'm like, dude, that's a great punt. That's a great punt, right? But
every game, we've been saying that so much through this season. Oh my God.
But nobody after the game is like, man, our punter's amazing. We don't think about how significant that is.
Last week he did win defensive or special teams player of the week.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though? I think throughout the season, it's like an unsung hero, man. The guy's great. And he's been huge this season, and I think we should acknowledge that because
people...
You
don't realize field position, dude. And a lot of that is done through special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously defense can hold this and that, but if let's say your defense holds them back into the 5-yard line, but then you punt it and your guy fumbles it, and then you end up starting still on the net 30, that kind of stuff hurts you. So having a good special teams, a good punter, a good receiving, a good kick return, punt return, all that stuff, that's important. We literally won the game against the Dolphins week 18
I was just going to say
because
that.
of a punt return.
I say that Hardy returned for a
Literally.
touchdown. That's flipped the whole game around. Like, bam.
And Martin has been coming up time and time again this year. That's literally in that game alone. He had multiple punts that pinned them inside their own 30, 20.
10.
That's huge.
10.
Yeah,
a lot of inside 10s, which is crazy.
Yeah. And that's huge when you make the team start having to go 80-plus yards every drive.
That's like almost setting up a safety every time if you can start them under the 5.
Because most times you watch, most games, most teams, if they have to start that far back, they'll get like a 15-yard completion and then they fumble it out. They are not fumble, but then they just fizzle out.
Yeah.
If they're starting on like let's say 40, a 15-yard completion, you're already on the other side of the field.
Near a field goal.
There's momentum like that quick. So like that's how huge field position is.
Yeah.
I've watched multiple games where we're the significantly better team and we've lost because of field position. Mm-hmm. One that reminds me is one of the Titans games when we're like literally every time they had us pinned in our like 10-yard line, and that was the game we got blown out to them.
Yeah.
We lost like 42 something or whatever it was. It was a blowout. And it was because every time they were starting on like the 50 and we were starting on like the 25.
Yeah.
Or before. And it's game changing to have special teams like
yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're getting held to the 5 and you can't convert, you're kicking from your end zone and they're going to get it at the 50. You know what I mean? Like you're talking like at the 50-yard line, somewhere around there, you know? So.
Yep. So it's obviously important your defense and offense play well too to like, either advance the ball or hold the ball from advancing. But like it's just as important to make sure like when you don't advance the ball like there's been multiple times where Martin's punted the ball freaking 60, 70 yards so that we were back at our 5-yard line, but we're still making them start at the 20, 25. Yeah.
I don't remember,
that's great.
Yeah. I don't remember our special teams being so important as it has been this year in quite a while. Like it's been huge.
It's been some like moments, we've had moments this year as a special on a special team, and our defense too stepped up just so many big times, like big plays and in important times. And they've been tested so many times. I feel like, especially through this last like 6 weeks with like, or even like the 5 weeks that we were losing, like there were so many times our defense, like we've said, like they're on the field again.
It wasn't the defense's fault.
One more stop, one more stop. And there's even through that 5 like games where we lost a few, they were just get tested. And not just that too, all the injuries they've had to overcome on defense, especially because the offensive line, they've been there all year long. Yeah, the one guy got hurt for a minute, but he came right back in. The offensive line has been a unit all year long. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But the D, they've been all over the place, multiple different guys subbing in and out, and they've still been one of the top defenses in the league all year long.
Yeah.
It goes to show you. It goes to show you. So that's good to see. Obviously, going into this week, big game. But I will say I'm so confident. Because
let me ask you before you get too far into it. How did you feel about the Steelers? Like, did you have any concern at all, or no?
I mean, the only thing about the Steelers, it was like one of those weird games where like I don't think they were that good, and I feel like even most Steelers fans will be like, we overachieved and we were just happy to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it was one of those games that like we could have, just the way that this season's went, I just felt like it was going to be one of these games we were going to slip up.
I felt confident that we'd win, but I had a little worry. I had a worry.
That's exactly how I felt. I was like, I think we're going to win this. I feel pretty confident about it, but there's a chance they might stumble a little bit.
And I don't go looking for Steelers games, but just by chance, I've seen quite a few Steelers games this season or paid attention where they found a way to win, and you're like, I don't know how.
A lot of close games.
I mean, I know TJ Watt's out, which is a big factor because I think that's a lot of reasons why they win sometimes. Some of the stuff he does
that made me much more comfortable too.
Yeah, but I mean, like they beat teams they shouldn't have this year. Like I saw that early one where they pulled it out against the Browns when Chubb got hurt, and it's been so. Me going to Kansas City, I kind of feel the same way, but like a little more worry, even though I still am confident we can beat them. It's just, it's. I think we talked about this prior to the cast, how it's really how that game, how we come out and how that starts, right? Do you want to get into that a little bit? What we were saying?
Yeah.
Remember how the game is going to start out is going to really be impactful. We feel like, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Because I definitely think how the game starts out, it's crucial. I think for us especially going into KC.
Well,
I think
that's not with the KC one. So like we talked about before the cast. Remember, you were
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about how that game should start, where we're gonna feel a lot more comfortable with a win. Remember?
Like with like KC, you mean?
Yeah. How we talked. I just want to bring that up. How we were talking about that before the cast.
Oh, before the cast, like how you're saying it's like we need to have a strong start. To
But,
score.
But you're also saying we were getting into the deep into it. We were like, we kind of hope that Kansas City gets the ball first, and we stop.
Oh
them.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, obviously, like we were saying, I would like KC to have the ball first because then I think it would help us to get a stop. Because generally, I don't love always starting with the ball because you don't get it second half, and also I feel like it's just like. It could go either way for that first drive where it can kind of stall out. Where I feel like once you're already into that, the second drive of the game, which is just the second drive for either team in a sense, you already kind of have been on the field for a minute, waiting for a minute. Game's been going on for a minute, and you're kind of already into the game a little bit more. And not just that, like I said, you get it in the second half. So it's just I feel like it gives a chance for the defense to step up right away and get the game going out in the right way. And I feel like that's a little bit more impactful than the offense coming out and scoring.
Yeah.
Because then they can come out and still score right after, let's say, Mm-hmm. But like if you stop them and then score, you kind of are already like, all right, we got a defensive stop, we got an offensive score, we're rolling.
I think it starts breaking them down mentally because if we go out and get the ball first and score first, and then the Chiefs come back and score again, it's like, okay, well we both belong here. We belong here. You know what I mean?
And that can just go back all game.
Yeah, but if
you stop them right off that first drive, you can get started off good.
Yeah, then you score. And then they come back like, wow, we failed our first drive, and these guys didn't. They capitalized. Now what are we gonna do? We have to do something. It's like the pressure's on, kind of. I like that. So I kind of hope it goes that way because we were saying that usually we feel like in most situations the first possession squandered, no matter who it is, right?
Right.
Like when you're the first in the game, it doesn't end up.
Well, yeah, and like a lot, typically. You could still score that first, but like you said, what if you both score to start? It doesn't. I mean, It just. I feel like getting that defensive stop on that first drive, right off the bat, you've knocked their momentum right off. Where like you almost give them a little bit more momentum when you score right away, and then they have a chance to like, okay, we got to come out and meet this. Where like if you stop them before they even have any momentum going. It's like you can kind of get that like idea going, that negativity for them going, So
why I was gonna just say about that. I'm like blanking out too. I was gonna say, why I think that I don't know. I lost it. It'll come back.
It happens. I blank out all the time. I do it all the time. I swear it's a long week. Don't worry. So.
Yeah, it's a long week. We both had long days this.
You had
week.
To work till like midnight last night.
Yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
don't blame you.
Yeah.
All day, all damn day.
I got a little break in between, right? Then back at it again. So
right. But yeah, going into the Chiefs game a little bit, I definitely think it's obviously huge that we get a good start. It's obviously huge that we have a running game. And it's even bigger that our defense plays a really good game.
I'm glad you just said that. That triggered it. It's back. The defense part. So what I was going to say was, the reason why we both want that to happen that way, where they get the ball first and we stop them.
Yeah.
Because we know we talk every week about how confident we are in our defense. So like
defense steps up again.
Yeah, get out there and step it up from the get-go. Okay, sorry, go ahead. I brought it back.
No, honestly, it's so big though. Like our defense has just been such a crucial point of our team this year. Obviously they've bet a bunch, but they haven't really broke that often. Even through our losing streak, we've said it multiple times. We're like, it's not. The defense is playing a hell of a game.
Yeah.
And then they get to the very end, and their 47th stop, they finally give up. Or they finally give up a freaking stop. Or a score.
It reminds me of like a kid, when you're a kid, like the water balloon, right? The defense is like holding it, and then eventually it gets to the point where it just bursts because you can't hold it anymore. You know what I mean?
Because the offense wasn't doing shit all year.
Yeah.
But I feel like once Joe Brady's taken over, the offense has been significantly better.
I like
the play. I haven't even been questioning the play calls nearly as often.
Mm-mm.
Like before, you were like, "What is going on? Like, why are they doing this?" Like they were just bad play calls, and then it would go for an entire game of just bad play call after game after game. I'm just like, why are we continuously doing the same bullshit?
They would like on a 4th and 1, they would go do some like run play from shotgun or something, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, why
Well, like
would you?
everybody in the league is doing the tush push.
Yeah,
And
just
then
do a
we start doing it and it works like
the over
every
the
time.
top. Remember?
He goes left every time.
And over the top instead of down in the pile. Like, it's great.
Remember last week he got lifted right up, got carried over by freaking Gilliam.
Yeah. It's working out great. I like the over the top better because all those people just get all slammed up. So that's cool. It's cool.
But yeah, our defense needs to step up big, which I think it will.
Yep.
KC, obviously, who knows what you're going to get out of them week to week. Obviously they beat Miami, but who really thought Miami was good?
Hey, who hasn't beat them?
Miami was 1-5 against good teams, against teams that were winning teams.
Mm-hmm.
Teams against losing records is when they beat all their other teams and they made it look good by dominating them. And it made all their stats inflated. They put a lot of their guys at the top of the league when they're really just not that good.
It's funny.
They're easy to stop.
It's funny how
I feel like it's.
Go ahead, yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'll say it's funny how you can connect the dots between the hype teams, like how they connected, because everybody was like Dallas. Same thing. They're playing garbage team. They're playing their two garbage teams in their division. I mean, someone could say that about us too, but I mean, the Jets are still better than probably the Commanders and the Giants, and then because they had a solid defense this year. And then you're talking about like people are basing the Dolphins beating the Cowboys, like, oh no, now the Dolphins are amazing, and it's like, okay, well, the Cowboys kind of proven that they weren't, and then it just keeps going from there. But it's funny how it rolls with the momentum that people get this false impression of a team. And like, I want Green Bay to take down San Francisco 49ers, but I'm not on the train, man. I don't think just because they beat the Cowboys last week, like a bunch of people beat the Cowboys.
I feel like the Cowboys were all hyped up.
Yeah.
Just like most of the teams that lost this year already. Like even the Eagles, they were hyped up for a while, and then their team all year long, they barely beat teams. They barely beat us. Barely kept pulling out these close wins. It was like one of those teams where you're like, they shouldn't be winning these games. Why are they winning these games? And then for the last 6 weeks, it showed they weren't winning these games, and it showed how bad they actually were.
Yeah.
So goes to show you.
Yeah.
Goes to show you. But yeah, let's get a prediction, Zill. I want to hear it.
Oh, for our game,
Bills Chiefs.
Bills Chiefs.
And the only reason we're doing this is because remember, what is the rule? We always talk Bills first.
Yeah, we always talk Bills first. So
always.
So, I think I'm gonna say that obviously this is gonna be a real close game. I'm not gonna deny that. I feel a little part of me feels like we could really just surprise everyone and blow them out, but likely not. Pat shows up for playoffs. Pat comes out. Their defense, even though they never impress me, I know they've had highs this year, but they seem to find a way, especially against us. They always seem to like make it very difficult for us to pull a win. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be something close, and it's probably gonna be a little lower scoring than usual. So maybe like 28-24, something like that. Like pretty close. I think less than a touchdown difference, but maybe more than a field goal.
Yeah, I could see it. I'm looking right now to see the injuries for Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Kadarius Toney is limited. Sky Moore limited. Noah Gray's playing.
Do you want to toss it out right now, the people who are playing this week, as long as we're talking about injuries?
Yeah. So obviously for Bills, they're saying right now the only people out are Gabe Davis, Spectre. Who else was it?
Gabe Davis, Spectre are the solid outs. I think everyone else is potential.
Bedford. Bedford is out.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but we've got some depth there. Especially with Rasul Douglas practicing fully today. So it looks like he's on track to play. He says he will play. So I have a good feeling that he will be playing. Tyrell Dodson did not play or practice all week, but they said he still has a chance. So maybe he might end up playing.
Bernard,
did I say Dodson? Bernard, I meant.
Bernard. Yeah, that was that was a scaping disaster. I think if no one followed up on the story since last week, if you weren't looking close, like they initially thought he broke his ankle probably, and then it ended up being a sprain. So we're like, cool.
It looked bad. Cool. It looked like he literally broke his foot or something, his ankle, and I thought it was season ending.
And honestly,
I was very sad.
But when they said it was a sprain, I still thought Cool. That's good for
this
him.
week.
That's good for him, but he's probably not going to make it back for a couple weeks, you know.
Yeah, at least this week for sure.
Yeah. So
But
apparently it's manageable, or he's going to manage it, which is great news.
yeah, which is good news. Dodson, they're saying it will be back most likely, which is great news.
Yeah.
Chiefs don't really have too many guys out. A bunch of guys limited practice, so nothing too crazy on their side. So it looks like it's going to be like we got a lot of guys back. I don't know. I feel like our defense is going to be playing much better than they did against Steelers, especially the way they did the second half, because they're going to have Douglas back, Dodson back. Even just the difference, you could tell the difference in the game when Dodson wasn't there, and once Bernard went out, it was just like all of a sudden they just run up the middle, pass to the tight end of the middle, pass up the tight end, run up the middle. I'm like, Deontay Johnson on a slant route across the middle. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, people don't realize how important it is to have coverage linebackers.
They smell the blood, dude, and they attack when they see that's gone, because they know that's our solid spot, and once that gets soft, they're just going to attack it all day.
And this year was finally been our strong point of our defense.
Yeah,
it really has been.
And so one thing I'll say about the Chiefs I'm concerned about is, so you got Pacheco, who's a very angry runner, and we've done well against speedy runners this year, like with the Dolphins. We've handled it pretty well. Like, it's one of our best years I can remember against the run. Like, we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
But like that angry runner, like I see him busting through people, and that is going to wear on a defense. Like, even if he's
like James Cook, honestly.
Yeah.
Pretty similar.
Maybe even, I think even more physical, like more violent.
Yeah. James Cook's definitely more elusive. Like, in the sense of
James Cook will juke a little bit if he has to, but
the way he plays, he's not like trying to run through guys. He's more or less trying to.
But Pacheco's going to just plow. So I'm concerned how we'll handle that. I'm sure we can do it though. It's just probably going to wear if they do too much of that. Hopefully we keep the score high where they can't keep running. They're going to have to.
And we have to contain Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kelsey, like the receivers, I'm not worried about. It's Kelsey I'm worried about, because it's the linebackers. And if we don't have our full line, or at least a couple of our good linebacker like Dodson or Bernard there, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be very tough, because Mahomes will find him.
And I think Mahomes has been throughout the year, from what I've seen too, he's been a little shakier with the long throws. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going long a lot. It's a lot of interceptions or maybe they're because they're all newer receivers that they have now. You know, he's working with, but.
And I think it's obvious, but our defense needs to apply pressure. Yeah. You cannot give Mahomes time. You cannot give him time. Mm-hmm. If you give him time, his people will get open and he will find them. Yeah. And that is just how it is. So you give him no time, and then the guys can't get open. So our defensive line have to be playing a great game, and they have been. And I think we've definitely been thankful for them. But they've got to step up here. They've got to. It's going to be one of the crucial points of the game. I guarantee it's going to be either the Bills got a lot of pressure and they sacked him, or at least created a lot of quick hurries, or the Bills didn't get much pressure and he found the open guys.
Hopefully it's a mismatch in our favor, that our defense can just dominate the offensive line. Yeah, I'm hoping.
I'm going to call a 33-25 Bills win. 33-25 Bills win. It's going to be a weird score. I think Bills will have a convincing win, where they win pretty easily, but it's going to be close towards the end. I like
that score better. My concern is I think the defenses might step up a little more than usual, because it could be a shootout, you know, but because our defense, we know we trust in them, and Kansas City's defense has stepped up when they need them this year. I just feel like it may not get that high, but I hope we blow them away like that. It'd be even better.
Right. Hold on. The kitty wants to cuddle in. Lay down, babies. Lay down. Good girl. No, I definitely agree. I think this game's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be higher scoring though. I feel like it's gonna be over 50 combined. What's the over-under on this? We gotta look this up.
Yeah, we should look at that. Vegas is usually close.
NFL. Over-under is... Why isn't it showing it? And obviously it's going to change.
It's 2.5 right now.
Is it 2? Oh yeah, 2.5 point favorite
Yeah.
Bills.
Yeah.
What's the over under for points? 45.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think they're going to be over. I'm calling the over on that all day.
I'm gonna call.
Over over 45 easy.
I'm calling under then. I guess. Yeah. No, I'm going over still. What I
Yeah,
say?
no,
20.
because you 28, 24 would
Yeah. We got it.
be yeah, way over.
Math.
Yeah.
Math. Over.
Math. I
Math.
love maths.
I love
I love
maths.
some maths.
So over.
Um,
So we're both gonna go over on that. So either way,
I
we
also
both win.
think the Bills win by more than 3, which I think they cover the spread too. So bet
Yeah.
it, bet it, bet it.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's go. Let's go talking into the little bit of the other games, and we'll finish up with some more Bills talk at the
Let's
end.
talk about these other games. Let's just go hit them in the correct order.
We're just gonna hit them. We're gonna hit them quick because we really don't care about them.
Let's hit them in the correct order since we already went to the Bills first because they were most important. And so
back to Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, we got Houston coming off of a hot win last week against Baltimore, which might also be an overhyped team. I'm happy to see this honestly because you got a team that's super hungry, outperforming everyone's expectations. Yep. Then you got the team who's the favorite for the Super Bowl. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's definitely going to be interesting to see this game. The Texans obviously have a little streak going. They have a outstanding rookie quarterback who is dominating. Ravens obviously the number 1 team. Lamar definitely not an MVP, but he's going to get it anyway. And I don't know. I feel like this is a game. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be one way or the other. And it's either going to be Ravens win handedly or Texans win a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's how it's going to be.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I think I am going to go with I'm going to chalk this one, and I think that the Ravens are going to win handedly. I think this is the wall that the Texans finally hit. As much as I don't want to, I'd love to see the upset. And I have no affiliation with either team, but I just would love to see the young guys upset the favorite. It would just overturn the cart.
I would love it. It would be so much fun to see the Texans win. Yeah. So much fun.
And I'd love to see the Bills face the Texans, honestly.
I know I was just gonna say that would set us up so nice, baby. So nice.
So I think it's gonna be one of those deals where like they're gonna come out trying to fight, but I think Baltimore is probably gonna take them down. I'm gonna say it's gonna be like maybe like a 34-17, something like that,
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty handedly too. I think Ravens win 27-13.
All right.
Pretty handedly. I think if it does change, it's going to be like Texans by like 2 or like a game-winning field goal or something,
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think the Ravens it's going to be over 43 points scored, and I think it's going to be Baltimore is going to win by more than 10.
I feel like we need a disclaimer. It's like barring no significant game changes, like Lamar going out or something.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but that's how it goes. That's what's the crazy thing about like sports betting too. Is like all it takes is for a guy to get hurt, and then your whole thing changes. So
tell me about it, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, seriously. So I think we're both in agreement. Ravens win pretty handedly that one. Go to the AFC Championship to face the Bills.
Yep.
Bills-Ravens matchup. That's going to be fun to watch. I think we win handedly, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We're going into the next game, 8:15, Saturday night, Packers-Niners. What do you think?
This one, I'm going to break this one down here. This one, I don't even care who I think is going to win. I want the Packers to win. I want them to take down San Francisco. I think I already said, though, early in this podcast. Yeah. And actually, there's many reasons for this.
I hate San Francisco, too, so I'm right there with
you. We also had a fantasy football league player in the past, too, that made it very obnoxious.
Sleepy Joe. Calling you out, pal.
Yep, calling him out. Hey, he got mentioned in the podcast, just not in a good way. But you got these 49ers fans living in the past, and so I'd love to see the upset, but I think I already said early in this cast, I want Green Bay to win. I don't believe in the Green Bay train at this point, the hype train. So I think 49ers are gonna handle them probably quite well. So
it might be a boring day of games, honestly.
Yeah, it might be, unless if something crazy happens. But I'm gonna say again, I could take the same score I applied to the last one, 34-17. I think maybe Green Bay gets a couple touchdowns, maybe a field goal, and then San Francisco is just going to do what they do.
Yeah. As much as I hate the Niners, I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. Even if it's like close late, it's going to end up being like a 14-point win.
Yeah.
Because like I could see the Packers sticking around for the first couple of quarters, but they're just not. They're young, and Jordan Love's good. He's showing he's good. He's going to be good for a couple of years, maybe, if everything keeps going the way it's going.
Yeah.
But the Niners are there. They're ready to make a playoff run. So. As much as I hate them, I definitely think they win by more than 10 points. And I think this is the one game though that I might go with an under 50.
Okay. I'm with this one too. I'm also gonna say that they had the week of rest, but that sometimes is bad because you're coming off of rusty,
which is why I'm calling the under in like where a game where they might win like 23-10 or something.
Yeah.
You know, or
I'm hoping for an upset.
23-17 or something.
I'm hoping for the upset, but I
am too.
So I get what you're saying. I probably not, but I'm saying that the Green Bay is coming off of playing real hard last week for that win, looking the best they probably looked all season that I've seen them play, and you're going against the 49ers who've had a lot of rest and who already think they're like Super Bowl champs this year. So
yeah. And we've seen with teams that get all hyped up like they're like the best team all season. They feel that way. Like we've been that way over the last year or two, you know, like there's been different times where we're like, we're the best team. We've had a good stretch going into the playoffs. We think we're dominant. And then you get caught up.
We've seen the 49ers do this multiple times, right? I mean, we've seen them.
We've already seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it happen. Yeah.
They're another. Could be another Cowboys team, you know, where they're stuck in the past, where their team always does well, always makes it, maybe make it far, but they're never going to win anything, you know.
Yeah.
In this day and age, so it's just how it's been right now for the Niners. So, they've made the Super Bowl, but they haven't won anything. So, they've won conference champions, but they still haven't won the title. So
they're another one
the Super
still looking.
Where it's the more important thing. So
they're like 20 years still looking, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with this game, but honestly, I think it's a 49ers win. Going into our last game, Zilla.
It's for me this one, Tampa Bay Detroit at Detroit. I grew up in the years of the Barry Sanders days where I was old enough to remember that. So I have a little soft spot in my heart for the Lions. I like that.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is one of those like Cinderella stories.
Bills 3 years ago.
Yeah. So I'd like to see them win, and I feel like they can win. I feel like it's going to be Detroit just barely over Tampa. This is a game where, other than that little like Cinderella story, it's probably the one I was least excited about. But it could be, other than the Bills game, the most exciting one of the weekend, probably for being evenly matched. I think so. I think Detroit's defense will oust them a little bit by holding them, and they'll probably squeak by. So I'm going to say that's going to be a lower school.
Under 49 combined points?
I think so. I think I'm going to go like, I was going to say like a, let me think, 24, like a 24-17, something like that.
24-20, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird game because like, are Buccaneers good? I don't know. They faced an Eagles team that kind of was falling apart for the last 5 weeks, and they've lost to bad teams. And I'm like, I was not surprised when they got beat up by the Bucs. You know, I'm like, yeah, the Bucs are a bad team, but they're also a bad team that's on the up a little bit. So like, they're playing okay. Where the Eagles were just a bad team that was playing bad, and they were just getting worse.
I'm strictly basing this on my fantasy, because I haven't watched a lot of Bucs games this year, but I'm basing it on my fantasy knowledge that they put out a lot of fantasy points, which sometimes will convert to real points, you know? So you got Baker, who turned it up later in the season. I think everybody thought he was just going to be another bust at another team, and he seems like he's kind of turned it up some. You got people like their receivers, which turn up. I'm thinking not Godwin, but Evans, right? He's capable. I mean,
this is hard to predict.
And I don't know that the Lions they have a good.
It is in Detroit though, which is huge.
I think Detroit does better than we think they will, but I still think that the Lions defense will handle that. I think that
I'm gonna call a 30-16.
Okay.
30-16 Lions win.
Oh, well, that's a good one. See, I almost wanted to go more with the Lions because I thought they are gonna rush Baker. They're gonna make it real difficult for him, and I think he could get flustered.
I think they're gonna show the Bucs who they really are, and I think they're gonna win. And gonna face the Niners.
Okay, or Green Bay.
Or Green Bay, hopefully. That'd be nice. That'd be friggin' nice.
Uh-huh.
We can always hope, right?
Yeah.
We can always hope. Hey. Honestly, if we take out Chiefs and the Niners get taken out, Zilla, there ain't nothing stopping us. You think I'm worried about those Ravens?
Oh yeah. I'm least. We had this discussion, so we can kick that around right now too. I think
because we'll go back to our Bills.
Yeah, we both agreed. Yeah, bring it back to the Bills. We both agreed we'd rather face the Ravens in the championship game than Kansas City. In that situation. So I'm happy we're playing them in this round and
even in Baltimore. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You're about to have a whole stadium of Bills Mafia, so let's go.
Kansas City championship game is like, I don't know where that team gets it, but they get
it's just different.
Yeah,
they're different.
Yeah.
Yep. So I feel like if we eliminate them divisional, then we have a legit chance.
Yeah.
And it's our turn finally to eliminate them. I just feel like it's our year. We battled, and I feel like going back to being tested, I just feel like most teams that win these tournaments like this are teams that have been tested.
Yeah.
Teams that have won a lot of close games or even lost a lot of close games, and that's our team this year. We've won a lot of close games and we've lost a lot of close games. So we've been tested multiple times, time and time again. And not just that, we've been tested physically too on the injury front. And I don't know, I just feel like this year's been such a battle, but we've battled it and been good, so.
And I hate Kansas City, but what a matchup. You almost have to respect them for that game. Yeah, for that game.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to, and it's kind of went back and forth. They've had us when it came to the most important games. But we have,
and the way both their seasons have went, both their seasons this year have been in total despair at times. And now they're both where they are, playing pretty good football, and it's just perfect. It's a great matchup. It's like, honestly, it's by far the best matchup of the whole week. You tell me Chiefs Bills, it's gotta be.
I think that's why they gave them the Sunday night. That's the prime time.
Yeah. It's Sunday night football again. They gave them the prime time football. Yeah.
It's also interesting to me that's going to start at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern.
Our time.
Yeah, which is
an hour earlier. That's like Super Bowl time. They're getting ready for the Super Bowl.
I like it though because. But the Super Bowl they drag out with all the extra hubbub to make so it's still super late. But this will be wrapping up. I'll be getting to bed with a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally go to bed at a decent time. Be like, yep, ready to wake up on a nice Monday with a big old fatty dub. We'll know it. We'll know who we're playing already too, and everything. It'll be set.
Yeah, they'll be waiting for us. I love it
with Sunday night football to close up the week. Oof.
Yeah, that's a good one. Good one.
Love it. But yeah, I think that's gonna end it for this potty. We thank you all for the support again. We definitely had a lot more traffic this week. Thank you all for the follows, the subscriptions. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
we really do.
You like it? Share it with somebody. I see that's been happening. It's great. We appreciate it. We will also continue to put it on. I think no matter what happens this week, even though it's gonna be a Bills win. We'll come back and probably do another one if for some reason the worst case scenario
no matter what we're gonna do, even if they lose, we'll do a closeout podcast for the season kind of thing.
Maybe it'll be our favorite moments. Hopefully that's after the Super Bowl. It'll be our favorite moments of the season and stuff like that we can talk about. So that's it. I think that's pretty good. We can wrap it on that. But
like us, follow us, subscribe, do everything to make us look good. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. We appreciate you all, and we'll be there next week. Let's go Buffalo! Super Bowl!